Hello, and welcome to another episode where I play Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule set, starting as the Duke of Angria in 1178. I think we're much closer to the end of our campaign here than the beginning. You can see that I rule a quite large Holy Roman Empire that encompasses much of Europe, as well as Egypt, some territories of the West, also Jerusalem. Quite a powerful character at this point. We've had a few series now where we get to this stage of the game and there's a certain lack of fulfillment regarding Scourge Conquerors. We're playing with frequent Scourge Conquerors and all their heirs inheriting, and that's probably the biggest source of the increase in difficulty compared to playing with the regular rule set. For much of the game, we're having to be very careful of the Scourge Conquerors, declare independence of our liege so that they don't conquer our territory, pledge tribute to them, swear fealty to Scourge Conquerors, do whatever we can to prevent them from seizing our lands. And over time, we eventually able to build up a strong enough army that we can compete and start taking on the Scourge Conquerors. But then we look around and there are no really Scourge Conquerors to be found, at least not near us. So here you can see, only 5 Scourge Conquerors in the world currently. One here is in the Baltic Empire. I think we may take a shot at him. Another is Zania. I'm guessing that, okay, so he's over here in the sort of southern part of the map. Another one I assume is in India, yes. Likewise here, I assume this guy is in India. But you can also see the sizes of their armies compared to mine. And that probably understates the difference, given that I have a lot of men-at-arms that are stationed in counties with specific military buildings, try to strengthen them. This guy's up here in northern Central Asia, near Siberia. Must be a new Scourge Conqueror. We do have Genghis Khan with a twist, which is Genghis Khan is a woman. Strangely enough, I've never seen that before. One issue with Genghis Khan, I don't know if this is intentional or if it's a bug or an oversight, is that Genghis Khan generally does not get the Scourge Conqueror trait in these games. That makes him, or in this rare case, her, much less powerful than one would expect. The Scourge Conqueror is just a outrageously overpowered trait. That's what makes a large part of what makes these games so difficult. Scourge Conquerors have plus 25 advantage. They siege incredibly quickly. They have an unlimited kingdom level CB. Just all these other traits and characteristics that add up to making them incredibly powerful. And Genghis Khan here has some benefits, still has golden lineage, for example, but it doesn't have all of the powers that come with a Scourge Conqueror. And so I generally play until I feel I'm indisputably the most powerful ruler in the world. And I do think that we are getting to that point. I am rather old now. My character is 71, have a faltering heart. We just started having poor health. So we probably still have 3 to 5 years to go. So let's look around and see what we can do here. Check our tips to make sure there's nothing that we're concerned about. So we can get these alliances. We do have one of our sons who is a vassal over here in the Crusader state of Rome, which we won in a crusade in, I believe, the last episode. Just had a grand wedding to our new wife here. Took the legitimacy hit and a huge vassal penalty hit to marry a lowborn. I think despite that, our vassals are still relatively content. So let's take a look at the Baltic Empire, one of the few scourge conquerors around us. See what we could take off of him. Not much. We don't have any great CBs for him, unfortunately. Don't really think I want to fight a scourge conqueror over a single county. So we're going to pass on that. We have 5 months before we can declare war on Castile. For much of the game, Castile was led by a scourge conqueror. I don't know if that scourge conqueror was bugged or just using some sort of unusual algorithm, but instead of using his kingdom level casus belli, he instead often was enforcing the claims of other people, usually to single duchies. I don't think that was what was intended, but it made him expand less quickly, probably made him less powerful than one would expect. So this looks like an excellent claim if this person doesn't die. I think let's enforce this and cross our fingers. What else I want to do? We are still about 11 years away from that. I also want to look at our culture. I'm assuming we can't reform again yet, but if we could, I think it would be time for buy the sword. That's going to be another, what, 16 years? Okay, that's too bad. In the meantime, we will proceed with our existing claims. Before I die, I do want to max out our provincial armies here. You can see we haven't done that at all, really. Partly because we've been using our treasury to build buildings, lots of windmills, to increase our economic strength, provide the foundation for this large army. Do still want to make sure we keep improving our estate here. Talked about before last time about exactly what buildings do we want. When the estate was created, it had the the storehouse, market square, expensive grain field, and level 1 of the ample grazing lands. They're not bad buildings. I'm not sure that they're what we want at this stage in the game. Let's see what else we would build here. Guest chambers, the monthly domicile influence percentage can be helpful. Let's see what else we want to build. Baths aren't bad. The cabinet of curiosities and reception hall are both good, particularly the cabinet, but they require dynasty legacies to construct. Guess let's go ahead and build out these guest chambers first, and we can think about what else we want to do. Some faction targeting me. Guess he's upset I married a lowborn. He has a whole lot of penalties. Guess he's not a court. He's a zealous opportunist. Yeah, vassal stand zealot. I think it's only the courtly vassals that get the huge penalty because I married a lowborn. Which, makes sense. Okay. Other thing I would like to do is get up to authoritative. That is necessary to change my laws from acclamation succession to primogeniture. If I don't do it, it's not the end of the world. Our succession is quite secure. We're going to be giving everything to our youngest son here. He's intelligent, 4-star marshal, 4 good traits. So I think the realm will be in good hands. But it'll be even more secure if I get primogeniture. Here we're going to keep going down the kin, dynasty legacy line, studious youth, getting better education traits. Very important. Now that domain is based on education, domain limit that is. We have a large number of benefits to our siege speed, in addition to having a number of trebuchets, so siege quite quickly. Our character is an exalted warlord, which has its own bonus. He also have perks of sappers and engineered for destruction. So we get through sieges very quickly. Not quite as fast as a scourge conqueror would, but close. Is this Castile? Not sure who all these other people are. Could go fight them for the prestige. This person is a fearless ravener. I think ravener means self-serving. Probably should have looked at exactly what I was giving up there. Yeah, I mean, a weak hook. In an administrative realm, it doesn't matter as much. We don't have contracts, so she can't change that. The issue is mostly just her getting onto my council. Don't need anyone else's troops here. I don't know why you would make the suicidal decision to try to unsiege what I have sieged, but you will die for it. I'm just going to attack these guys because why not? Yeah, Castile. Looks like there's also Sicily's armies. Go after them next. Our current weapon is just blue, so if we get a nice purple one that's actually good, that would be helpful. Not sure I'm going to catch. Yep, I just barely caught one of them. It's probably going to be a decisive victory. Is the war. I was wondering before about whether, if you're administrative and you have a feudal vassal, as he is, if you change the feudal taxes, does it actually have an effect here? Because you see here, it shows the levies level, but not the feudal taxes. So let's look up here to see. We're also going scutage, which should give us more taxes. Okay, so yeah, again, I think we saw last time that it does in fact make a difference. So it did here. Got another 1.7 gold or whatever. This guy used to be a scourge conqueror, but no longer. We can conquer a little bit. See if we can get. So you can see here we create 3 empire titles, and this really gets to why I want to have primogeniture. Currently I have an empire title, obviously the Holy Roman Empire. If I got all these other empire titles, my concern is that using acclamation succession, they could go to someone else besides my primary heir, and so I don't want to create them until I get the authoritative level of influence. One thing that should get us closer is holding a feast. We have the wine cellar, among other bonuses, so we should get a large amount of influence from this. Don't think there's other ways to get influence, so we will hold our feast and continue looking for other ways to get influence. Increase our chambers here. Right, we talked about increasing our provincial military, so we will do that now as well. Got a decent amount of gold here. So in our main army, we have what? We have 3 regiments of footmen, 2 regiments of heavy cavalry, 2 regiments of crossbowmen. So I think for each of our provincial regiments, let's get lots of trebuchets, since we don't have any in our main army. What else do we really want? Probably save the house guard for whenever we get another slot for our main army. And I think for our duchy armies, maybe this one, let's go crossbowmen and armored horsemen. Okay, and that's all our gold for now. Okay, we want our army. Okay, this guy might not have much longer to live. He's really starting to stack up the elder traits at this point. Well, a larger army for 2 fairly basic reasons. For our heir, first of all, more powerful our heir is, more powerful our army is, more difficult it is for factions to satisfy the military threshold to get discontent built up. So that prevents the factions from rebelling in the first place. And second, if they do rebel, have a more powerful army to put them down. So normally don't want to spend a lot of gold. If you think you're about to have a succession, you want to leave most of it to your heir. But I think here it's worth spending to get that military up. I think we might have a discount from our hostile looter experience to recruiting men-at-arms. We have the maintenance discount. Maybe it's just maintenance. But you can see here, I've often talked about the importance of maxing out hostile looter experience. Going to grand tournaments is very important, and you can just see just this host of benefits we have because we have maxed out the hostile looter tree. So again, I think if you're playing on any level of CK3, but especially if you're playing on this hardest rule set, you really want to focus on maxing out the hostile looter tree. And because we're playing on very hard, AI has more gold, activities are less expensive for the AI. You often have the opportunity to go to more grand tournaments and other activities than you would on normal. To avoid stress, especially since I have faltering heart trait among a number of other elder traits now. Actually blind from measles, not from getting old. What is the least amount of stress? Bottom one. Almost thought I had died there. Only 23? I'm not sure why I got so little influence there. I think the last time we held a feast, I got like 700. So it does look very unlikely that we are going to be able to get primogeniture on this character. Just have to hope our heir is able to do it. Guess we lost a county for West Slavia because we could form it earlier, but at this point I am somewhat concerned about doing very much because I do think our character is about to die. So now we're faced again with the decision about what do we want to do with these buildings. Having more supply capacity is nice. Plague resistance helps a bit. Popular opinion, prevent peasant revolts. Could manipulate the grain market. I guess we'll finish this one out. I've talked before about supply being very important at this level. It's one of the reasons that the living off the land perk and the martial tree, the strategist tree specifically, is very powerful. Allows you to hold your army together for a long time instead of having to split it all up among different counties to try to maintain your supply. Often allows you to fall upon the AI, which will often split out its army to a bunch of tiny pieces to try to maintain supply. You can hit them with your combined army, and then the AI will just end up feeding its armies into you. Not sure I really care much one way or the other. One thing we had been doing last game was trying to improve the governance efficiency of some of our worse vassals, so let's keep working on that. And mentoring them in governance also increases your own governance, which is very useful. Get some bonuses from that, including more influence. That looks quite good. Let's see how it compares to our current weapon. You know, the current weapon does have some good knight effectiveness and an additional knight. Kind of think I prefer the spear though, and it's purple. How can you beat that? Try this manipulate the Okay, I guess we could keep the grain field as well. Generally, there's no point in going to other people's coronations. You see here, because we are over 106. Oh no, this is something different. Because the size of our realms is we're over 160 counties, foreign rulers can attack our vassals without having me join the war. So I think what's happening in the event we just looked at was more of a had to do more with a specific landless adventure ability to attack vassals. Guess we'll build up the grain fields. We can see how well we can manipulate the grain market here. I mean, Sure. You know, not a huge increase in our gold, but fortunately, because we're blind, we can't go after, can't hold any sort of hunt. So specifically can't hold a legendary hunt. Will be nice here. Again, it just seems silly to fight him over a single county. And it's good because we obviously died and didn't want to be at war. So he is at war. Okay. Pause here. Set up everything. So for pinned characters, we will clear all of them except for me. I want myself to be up there so I can see my age and health at a glance. Not have to click through menus for it. Put our spouse up there for the same reason. We don't yet have any children, though my wife is pregnant, so hopefully that will change. Don't usually contribute to flood relief. My vassals handle that. So, not ideal to be at war. We will raise our armies. Lifestyle, we will go with chivalry. We're holding 3 duchies currently, but I think we want to be holding 3 duchies. I don't know about this Jaffa place. Certainly going to give it away. We talked last episode that when we had a succession, we'd probably give away Lobdeberg and Liechtenstein here. They don't have special, they're perfectly fine counties and quite well built up. They don't have any special holdings in them. And I guess we can pause a minute and think about, what is this going to look like for him in terms of his holdings. We are researching court officials. That's 15 years away at the moment. That would give us +1 domain limit. He is a brilliant strategist. If we get him to exalted warlord, that would give us another +1 domain. And then the question is, if we go swear a coronation oath, if we get ensure peace, that could give him another one. And then you get another one from going down the authority tree in Marshall. So maybe we try to hold on to all these counties. I don't know. Do want to equip our Book of War to increase our monthly lifestyle experience. Let's equip that one. And maybe it's not worth it. Let's equip our healing guide here to keep us nice and healthy. I assume I'm leading an army somewhere. Why am I not? Okay. Wow, 75 advantage. That's quite a bit. That said, at the moment, I don't think me leading this army is necessary or a good idea. How much does the Pope hate me? Not that much. but I need more piety. Okay. Guess we'll manipulate the grain market again. Go on an incredibly expensive pilgrimage. The problem here is I'd like to go to Cologne, but I think there's a plague there. Typhus, an apocalyptic typhus plague. Okay, we don't want to risk going there. I think we'll just go to Rome then. Now the concern here is that while we're traveling to Rome, we're going to end up with some factions firing. I mean, we do have a lot of gold, so we try to bribe people, prevent the factions. We'll go all out. We want to make sure we get enough piety. Should have romanced my wife before doing that, but she's a lesbian, so couldn't be able to do it anyway. We will grant vassals to their rightful liege. This improves opinion of the vassal who receives a lower ranked vassal. If the lower ranked vassal was thinking about rebelling against us, it means they're now someone else's problem. This is, you can only create the Empire of Italia. Okay, guess other people have been pecking away at our... Oh, it's probably because my legitimacy is not as high. Yeah. So we are going to create the Empire of Francia. This is a bit of a risk, but I think it'll make our vassals in Francia happier. The risk is if I die soon, before I get to primogeniture, and then Francia might split off into a separate realm from the Holy Roman Empire through acclamation succession. But I think that's a risk I'm willing to take at this point. We will negotiate alliances with people inside our realm, prevent them from joining factions against us. We will distribute these titles, make whoever receives them happy. Also give us some legitimacy, some prestige, levels of fame, all stuff that might improve our vassals' opinion of us. We have plenty of gold, so might as well use it on trying to avoid factions and rebellions. Try to have as smooth of a succession as we can. So Cairo and Palestine aren't duchies I want to create because possible I want to hold them myself at some point. We'll create Romania here. Give it to this guy, I suppose. Not quite sure why he's so angry at me. Yeah. Auvergne, also we can. Wernher, again, I apologize for butchering pronunciations. We will give him a title. We're not going to create those two. Ransom this person. We want to keep the 3 duchies we have. You know, one of the things, whenever you have succession, you want to look at how many duchies you have, since that's a very easy source of vassal discontent. You can remedy it by giving away the duchies as necessary. These we want to hang on to. See here if for our marshal and spy master, I think let's not change them now. You know, if things go badly, we may want to change these to be our powerful vassals, but not yet. You know, our biggest issue is going to be we're going to have massive holdings penalties. If those really start interfering with what we're doing, then we're just going to give away those 2 counties I identified earlier. Also use some of our gold to do what we were talking about before, which is to increase the size of our provincial armies. There was crossbowmen and armored horsemen. Here, I think let's go crossbowmen and armored footmen. And the armored footmen really sort of the backbone of any army. Crossbowmen are there to counter footmen and also armored horsemen. We'll make those armored horsemen and footmen here. Again, we just want more military power, so factions that are thinking about rebelling against us are going to have to hit a higher threshold here. And then if they do rebel, we'll have a more powerful military to go after them. Come down here and fight these armies of Castile. So again, we have lots of gold, so let's use it if we can get out of some of these factions. Giving away the gold also sometimes gives us some influence, which we'll want. And the magic number is +80. If someone has not been forced to join the faction and they get to +80 opinion of you, they will drop out of the faction. Let's see what that looks like. That was unfortunate. So I'm hoping we will get some heirs soon. Looks like we are going to catch Castilian army. I'm not leading, but I think my overwhelming power of our men-at-arms should get us a pretty easy victory here. Same thing here. We're going to pick off those that already have relatively high opinion of me, send them gifts, and effectively bribe them to drop from the faction. Picked up another building that I do not want to hold. I'll try to give my brothers some better land. In particular, give them some, at least some duchies whenever I get the opportunity and those come up. As for now, I think we'll keep them landless for the moment. Is it worth fighting this war to the end? Yeah, probably so. So over 7,000 gold, that's a lot. What are we even fighting over exactly? Messina and then those two counties up there. All right. Wise man trait, give us some learning. Also allows us to take a mystical communion, which gives very good stress benefits and also gives some learning lifestyle experience, so well worth having. To come up here and unsiege these other two counties. What is good is that we have our armies raised and we still have quite healthy monthly income. Now our factions, well, okay, they were briefly all handled. Not quite, so he is forced to join the faction. Someone may have had a hook on him or something of that nature, but there's no point in sending him a gift because it won't cause him to drop from the faction. We can pick off a few more other people. Should cause them to drop from the faction. Yeah, okay. Not sure where Castile's army is. You can see that Castile used to have a massive amount of gold. I think like 70 or 80,000. Seem to be slowly losing that. I expect they're going to land somewhere again in Italy. Probably in Sicily, away from my armies. I'll have to go chase them down. I mean, the difference between 14 and 33 is just massive. Want our men-at-arms as strong as possible, though it does mean that we've really cut into our income. This is our father's posthumous child. I think I will get hard rule, and that should, really mean that we'll be able to handle any factions. I'm not sure where the Castilian army is. Okay, that's where they are. Now we will unsiege this and then go say hi to them. We're already at our max level of piousness. I think let's just take the gold, even though it's some stress. See that this general does not have living off the land, so supply is much lower. I'm a deviant. What are my relationships? Okay. Let's lose the deviant secret. This guy seems like a very religious man. You know, he's zealous and temperate. He's a crusader. Apparently some sort of deviant. Happy to negotiate these internal alliances. We're going to avoid, wow, why? Okay. I don't want to take that. It's just a massive amount of stress. We're going to turn around and smack the Castilians here. We will help whoever that is. I mean, she should be dropping. Guess we can bribe this guy. Or bestow, you know, lordly largesse. However one wants to phrase it. Okay, that'll be that war. Again, it's just, you know, almost 8,000 gold. That's a lot. I think it was worth completing that war. Now we are at peace. When we get back to our capital, we'll see about turning around and heading right back to Rome. You know, for all historical characters, I pretty much always do this middle option. Have them join my court so I can use them. Obviously, Marco Polo is just an incredibly powerful character. Let's get him married to someone decent. She looks good, virtuous woman. Absolutely will sponsor his inspiration. Hopefully he brings back something good. Looks like our vassals have taken over Venice for us, so again, administrative vassals are just quite powerful. Son who is... How is that even possible? Is that our son? I'm intelligent. My wife is intelligent. This kid is quick. He should be a genius. Dear wife, what have you been doing? Maybe it's my son. I am dubious. I am skeptical. Probably hard to raise with your wife. Hey, have you been cheating on me? My son seems dumber than he should have been. Have to see if how our next child turns out. The first one is just, yeah, it's just too much of a risk, even at 1%. But I think actually we would like him to be our physician. We can change him to advanced research. Do need a seneschal. Marco Polo will be amazing at that job. Okay, now we continue on. Rebels, probably at this point they just want gold. 66, yep, okay. Do we get 78? Probably not. Nope. Have to see if that's enough. Put them under the threshold. It is not. They still want to revolt. Go with this top option, take advantage of our character being brave. Again, if we hit hard rule here, that should prevent them from being able to revolt. All right, now Mr. Pope. Okay, we don't even have to spend additional piety, just gold. Like gold, okay, fine. Pope is healthy. Take the money. Certainly either be going to or hosting tournaments. Do I have any hostile looter experience to begin? A little. Very little. I guess I'll try to seduce my wife. She has an interesting face. Okay, can't seduce her either. All right. It is what it is then. So I think let's go to our coronation. The other option would have been to go to university first. That would certainly give us enough perks to be able to get hard rule. But let's go to our coronation first. Which we can't start for reasons that are unclear. Because the Pope is traveling, I guess. Okay. So the Pope is no longer traveling. Now we will go have our coronation. I think because, well, I guess we should go with impressive attendees to... Actually, I think let's go with exalt the crown. I do think our... Wait, what just happened? What in the world? So we apparently what happened is we had our coronation lined up. The Pope decided he wanted to go to university, and so he lost 1,000 gold, and now we have a 3-year cooldown on our coronation. So thanks a lot, Pope. But the Pope has inspired me to go to university, so I can at least fix these factions. Don't need mountaineers anymore. We'll put our wife on patronage, so we have the highest learning, since learning is what we want. See, overall, we are a very strong character, except for intrigue. We have plenty of time for the Liberty faction hits. That was a very good result there. Got us all the way up to level 2 of studiousness with 5 months to go. This clearly looks good. Marco Polo has a great prowess, so we will spend the gold here to increase our studiousness as much as possible. Okay, just need to get to 21 more points here. Take a risk. Good, and there we go. So we've done as well as we can. Just have to hope we get exalted warlord. If we don't, not the end of the world. But it would be nice to get it. And we did. So great. Exalted Warlord is just a ton of amazing benefits. Obviously get another domain limit, which helps a lot. Even same culture opinion. See, but really what we're looking at is army movement speed, siege weapon effectiveness, get extra stewardship, get big bonus to our martial lifestyle experience, and even a bonus to stewardship lifestyle experience. So once we go through martial, we can go to stewardship and get even more gold. Probably switch armors here. Yes. Can't equip a crown because the Pope just bailed on us. One would have thought that there would be something to prevent the Pope from screwing you in those situations, but I guess not. We talk about how it's usually a positive that the AI has cheaper expenses for hosting activities on very hard, but I guess we can see the downside of that just now, where in a regular game, maybe the Pope is sitting around. He's not traveling all over the place, but here, because going to university is cheap, he's like, well, I'm off. That faction's still going to trigger. Let's wait a month and see what happens here. Okay, there we go. Now it fixed itself. So if you have nomads, get these annoying. They will periodically send out raiding parties. They're annoying. You can do that. Fix that by paying a gigantic amount of gold to aid the tribal development of the vassal where the nomadic counties are located, and that will cause them to go away. Ask our head of faith for influence while he's at university instead of hosting our coronation as he should be. I normally do not engage in a lot of adultery, but since our wife is a lesbian and I'm a bit concerned about her own faithfulness, I'm going to take a look around. This is our late father's wife, so we can get this up to some real CK3 memes if we wanted to. Which I think I do. So let's just start. There are only 3 intelligent women, unmarried women in the world, it looks like, at least within inside our diplomatic range. Should note here that we are playing on restricted diplomatic range, so it's going to be fewer potential spouses, potential romantic partners and otherwise. But we do have chivalry, and so it's partly what's guiding this is I will get some renown as well. So we'll go here. Maybe if there are other intelligent women, we can likewise see about romancing them and see if we can get some intelligent heirs that way, our genius heirs even, and we can legitimize them if they're bastards, recognize them as our own. Let's look at what our succession looks like before we do anything. Okay, it's all going to our older brother. I think that's fine. Obviously, it would be our grandfather at this point died while participating in a joust at a tournament. So it can happen. Guess we can go hold our joust in Paris, our grand tournament, I should say. So we basically need everything here. think this looks good. Um, if you win, you get. I think even if you place, you get modifiers that increase your hostile looter experience, and so theoretically, you should get more experience for events at the end than events at the beginning. So we have 2 wit events, have 2 events that give both horse and foot experience, and then archery. We will max out the accommodations. Did not save our grandfather. Hopefully will save us. Everything else looks good. I want to get up here to absolute control so I can get another domain limit. Happy to be a gardener. Has a very nice trait that reduces your stress gain. That's very helpful. Make sure we have a good wet nurse. You look great. Though you're not Catholic, apparently. I mean, he's not bad, frankly. Guess we could let him be. Our steward. You know, he does get us some influence, so that's a good thing. We'll go with scientific. Pedagogy was the other one, so we could train our children better. Wet nurse, who held to other positions, ran out on us. Guess let's search for one. Usually you can find a good quality wet nurse. Like our brother, master of the hunt here. Put that on automatic. Executioner on automatic. Okay. Better percentage options. Okay, I was wrong. Well, guess we'll go with who's available then. I do want my wet nurse to be on instill virtue. There we go. Just want our children to be as virtuous as possible. Don't think that your wet nurse will instill virtues in the player's own wards, but I'll have, presumably we'll have other children that I'm not teaching that could benefit from the instill virtue of the wet nurse. So this is really what I want here. Astronomer, 15% monthly lifestyle experience, very powerful. No idea why being ambitious caused you to get a bunch of stress from that, but I think that is worth the stress. I usually don't bother sabotaging other players. Just try to win on my own merits here. I am happy to threaten them when I have a 99% chance of success. Couple things I want to look at here. Yep, I think we will go to absolute autocracy. See what our vassals do. We will fix our borders, which will also upset them. But again, I want them to direct their ire outwards. So we are going to keep on, war declaration allowed. They can all engage in war against foreign enemies. Also want to look again about getting by the sword. That is, okay, that's still 10 years away, so that's a ways away. Now that we have astronomer, it's less important to go to the temple. Guess we'll lose the 450 gold. It is a nice bonus there in terms of knight effectiveness. Let's see what she comes up with. I guess Marco Polo won't be a court artificer. Mildly surprising, but who knows why. I mean, he's completed a adventure for me. I would have thought he would be fine with being a artificer. Go on more adventures. If not, that's fine. Pick the bottom one for the extra horse experience, as well as prestige, and in my case, stress loss from being brave. But here is where we cross our fingers and hope not to die. Hopefully we won't have another Henry II event. We are going to fight on. Get more horse experience, and we hope that our physician will be able to treat us, which he did. Avoid stress. Hit him in the head. See here, we're getting a good amount of gold and prestige for every victory, and really a lot of prestige. So this is normally a very good event. You see, because we're zealous, we get a lot of stress. I think we do it anyway. Didn't work. Hopefully our son is a genius. Okay, that would be an indication that he is in fact our son. We will educate him ourselves if we can. Send him to university. Try to give him the best education possible. Make him marshal. That event is just someone who's inspired, telling you that their inspiration has gone really well. They got some ideas in a dream that will improve their artifact, which is so it's a positive event. You also lose stress from it, so it's all good stuff. Sounds like I have another inspiration. Again, so usually as long as I have the gold, I just fund inspirations. You can get renown from them. You can if you don't use an artifact, if there's succession or you need to improve your vassal's opinion of you, you can give it away to them. Okay, since I have 0% chance of success, I guess we'll go with this bottom option, even though it'll cause a stress break. Hopefully I'll get athletic, which I did, so that's good. This is probably the best percentage I've seen on a melee. Melee is usually a coin flip. Maybe I've seen like a 61 or 62% chance before, but this 68% I think is the best I've ever seen in 4,000 hours of CK3. Not all of it spent when tours and tournaments was out, but still. So having said all that, I don't guarantee that we lose the melee. And we did. Inevitable. This person, yeah, they are good. I think we'll do that. Bring him in. I mean, he is a good knight, so it's worth getting him to fight for us. Avoid getting stress. Also, we get bonus to our score. Not going to be wedding any of our relatives to anyone based on how they do in the tournament. This match funding, I want to have the best artifacts I can. Guess we'll do this top one. If I was stressed for gold, we would just do the bottom one. We're just going to do this bottom one here. I don't want to get any more stress. Probably want to say a few words. The trinket is nice. Not sure about anything else. We'll take a look at our furniture. I do want to equip that trinket. Again, we'll look at our furniture here. That's pretty good. I guess there's not a lot of difference between those two. Okay. Probably worth displaying when or if I go to a learning lifestyle. I think let's hold the feast in the hope that we get a decent amount of influence. We should, because we have a maxed out wine cellar. Not only that, but we have a level 5 wine press here, vineyard, whatever you want to call it. So we really ought to get a lot of influence. But our father's last feast, he got an extremely small amount of influence for reasons that aren't terribly clear. I don't have enough. Okay, I guess I'm not at max legitimacy. Gosh, I wonder why that is. Surely it couldn't be because the Pope ran off on me. So we'll go to Cologne to hold it. Again, we are going to try to get as much influence as we can here. We'll even pick an honorary guest. Then I think after this, it'll be time to look at targets. So, Market Square. So I think I would rather have the powerful family rating. I think is irrelevant. As for council position, that's irrelevant too. So it's really just this bit of gold and then influence when constructing buildings in held counties. I'm not sure that applies to me. May apply to when you're not the liege and instead you're a vassal. So I think let's destroy this building. And what do we want in its place? We probably want, I think it's the barracks here. Get heavy infantry damage and toughness. I think let's go that way. Have the strongest army we can get. I don't think you're good enough. If she had a 20 or more, then maybe I would put her in that position. Partly because, largely, frankly, because it would give me influence. But that's not the case, so another nice suit of armor there. Let's see if we can make both of them court artificers. I think after this feast, we're going to look around to see who we want to attack. Don't have everything we want in the strategist tree, but I think we'll be an excellent general nonetheless. Treasury is finally positive. Take the influence. Guess we'll do this. Get some more piety. Okay, so here we got 867 influence, much more what I would expect to get. Maybe just very few people came to my father's last feast. Not sure. If we can get a coronation, emphasis on if, probably take another try at that. See if the Pope can stay where he's supposed to be instead of running off to university or something else. We are going to romance my father's widow. I mean, get 200 renown there. Let's just do it. We'll do the soulmate. Now, are there other geniuses? My niece. Okay. So it's time for some real CK3 goings on here. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, in that case, we'll still marry her to someone with good genetic traits. Looking for someone who's either beautiful or Herculean. And I am not seeing anyone. 5-year-old is Herculean, but too young. A 3-year-old, 0-year-old, 0. Okay, that's unfortunate. Huh. Just looking to see if we could invite any beautiful or Herculean men to our court. Looks like he would come. Make that matrilineal, and there we go. So the niece that we were thinking about getting up to some nefarious business with instead has a good solid marriage to a beautiful guy. Can invite this young woman to our court. Oh, so she's a lesbian. All right. See who else we can invite to our court. We might want to romance. Characters with good genetic traits that are interested in men. Willing to come to our court. Okay. Second attempt at a coronation. Again, we're going to do exalt the crown here. Hopefully we'll actually make it to this coronation. Really? Okay, just peasants. This is our maybe son. Just let him alone. Here's who I'm fairly sure is our son. So keep raising him. Maybe we'll do the traditional medieval king activity of having some bastards that we can put into high positions or even have them become our heir. Go ahead and finish off overseer there. Mongols are getting a quite large empire. Seljuks are holding on to a large empire despite no longer being led by a scourge conqueror. I mean, he's still a 5-star exalted warlord, so that's powerful enough on its own. I have to accept gold and have this guy be my supporter. Happy to get a nice mace. Okay, that's all good. Not giving out weak hooks. It's about increasing our magnificence a bit. You can see our treasury is slowly increasing in terms of monthly income. Not going to twist the answer against the clergy. Don't need to lose stress. I don't think we're going to be demanding many conversions. Even this, I mean, I don't know that we need his opinion of us to be higher. Probably not going to be relying on him for claims. I think we just do the bottom one here. I think I actually want my other crown, if I still have it. Domain taxes, courtly vassal opinion. If we run into, well, we're not going to run into vassal limit problems. Really, I don't get an option for ensure peace. I am surprised. I think foster enlightenment probably will auto-complete. I assume somewhere we have a university and a development of 30 or higher. Which, you know, those I have, obviously have 300 gold. I have a 5th level education trait. The other option, if we want to increase the power of our military, would be to support knights. Put those in 3 buildings that we know we're going to keep, such as Cairo, Jerusalem. Shape the realm would be a relatively easy one. I think let's go support our knights just to do something a little bit different. Might as well get started on that. So the only 2 buildings I'm definitely going to hold would be Jerusalem and Cairo. Even Cologne and Paris I could potentially give away at some point. Now the question becomes, what building do I want to destroy? I guess the docks. Yeah. Put those in. Jerusalem, what do I want to destroy? Probably the desert agriculture. Yes. Then either Cologne or Paris. Paris looks like the docks. Yep. I guess we're going to hold on to these 2 buildings for a while at least. Might as well start building in them too. Maybe have domain limit of 6. Soon that'll be 7 when we get court officials. Yeah, being 1 domain limit over doesn't bother me at all. Almost certainly going to take that top one for the renown. Sure, doesn't cost me anything. Get a little diplomacy experience would be nice if we could finish off this, 4 to maximum magnificence, but I don't think we are. Increase our artifacts, and that's that. Let's see if we can create the Empire of Italia. We can. See if we can create the Empire of Westphalia. We cannot. We are one short. Wow, the Mongols are already here. Don't want to pay 900 gold for a poor artifact. Make sure these are just still the peasant rabble. Guess we'll defeat them first and then move on. I like well prepared for probably for the travel safety, but mostly for the supply duration. Again, helps keep your armies together, be more effective in fighting the AI. Sure. Nope. Okay, looks like all the peasants are down here, so we'll just raise our men-at-arms, split them, and destroy the peasants. Or maybe we won't need to split them. Go for living off the land first. Talked a few times about that, how useful it is. That last decision, I almost go with great openness out of muscle memory. I believe it gives you some benefit to personal schemes. Don't need anyone else's armies. Why is that hard? Oh, she's paranoid. Okay. Whatever, we got some more renown from those romance schemes. Oh, don't run away. You wanted to rebel. Apparently thought it was a good idea. Let's pass on the hunt. I want to get one good war in here. Then we'll call it an episode. I think I will play at least one more episode. At the end of the next episode, we'll sort of survey what's going on. Is it, are we indisputably the most powerful ruler? So that we can call the campaign. Where do I want to attack? Do I have Last time we checked, just didn't have any good claims. Not going to fight them for a single county. There's a few claims. Let's see, what does the empire look like? I think I'd actually rather do this. I think getting that territory will actually give us access to the Empire of Westphalia, and then we can take a bigger chunk out of the Baltic Empire. See if there are any better claims than that. Seems like just a whole bunch of people have the same claims. Now, good to go with the entire Kingdom of Hungary. Do we want to do that? Some guy who has consumption. Sure, let's go big. And their capital's right there, so I just have a massive advantage. You know, also sort of plays into the question of, is there any challenge left in this run? You know, maybe not if I have an advantage of that size. Even without all of our good perks, you know, still sieging quite quickly here. Certainly looks like we're sieging a lot faster than he is. Manning this siege. I think he's just trying to hire as many mercenaries as he can, which is an understandable reaction. Or not one that's going to save him, I don't think. Meant to spend this gold on the warriors' quarters, keep buying, you know, whatever the marshal grants, keep buying other stuff instead. Not exactly sure what the Hungarian army is doing. Seem rather indecisive. If they stop moving and would siege somewhere, I would be happy to put them out of their misery. Check to see if there is a plague near our capital. Does not look like it. Inheritance of titles will give away here. Give one of our brothers this duchy title. And then our nephew Beaumont here. That gets back to where we were. Okay, back to our war against Hungary. Keep running. Not successfully. Quite sure I don't need anyone else's help here. going down the kin tree. You know, graceful aging is just extremely powerful. I mean, it's a little bit less powerful with the elder traits, since the elder traits can still rob you of your prowess, even though regular old age does not anymore, or will not if you have graceful aging, I should say. Let's make sure everything is still going to one character. Again, we need to get another level of influence before we can change to primogeniture. Okay, looks like we should catch the bulk of their armies, and that this will be the end of this war. You can see here just a massive, massive advantage in our favor. So our damage is increased by 440%. Just, you see his armies just melted, even though they were started at similar size. Let's see if we can make some more titles. At least Westphalia. I think we'd also be able to make Carpathia at some point. Need 7 more. Yeah, the Seljuks have really done a number on the Byzantines. So one thing that playing on this hardest possible rule set, the Byzantines often follow more their historical path, where they lose big chunks of their territory to the Muslim empires to their east. There used to be a Crusader kingdom of Rome here, but obviously it does not exist anymore. Saladin's descendants have taken it over. Let's take a crack at the Baltic Empire here. At least get a few counties. After that, we'll call it an episode. Really doing just because I like attacking scourge conquerors. There's not really any other good reason to it, frankly. We should probably look at is the development of the Alsatian counties here. 31 is good, 32 is good, 26 is okay, 14 is not as good. So we'll try to build up that one. Again, we are Alsatian, but because Alsatian is formed from Bavarian and French, because we were over here in Franconian territory when we created the culture, it did not spread to our capital, because we were neither, our capital was Franconian, it was not either French or Bavarian. Instead, it ended up over here, largely in Austria, and land we do not hold. In retrospect, instead of staying Bavarian, probably should have just become Franconian. Ah, the 5% chance. Great. Just great. And that's why I often don't take 5% chances. All right. Maybe playing as our brother soon. He is a very talented military commander. But Crusader Kings 3, either the odds are rigged or Crusader Kings 3 just gives you a great lesson in how 5% might seem close to zero, but it is not. 5% is still, going to happen 5% of the time. So sometimes you'll just get a very bad result, as we did there. Not seeing, I guess his arm, no, that's not his armies. Not seeing our Scourge Conquerors armies here. I'm guessing, oh no, his armies are smaller than mine. I thought his armies might be bigger overall. Yeah, it's not going to matter. I'm sure our armies are much higher quality. Can we fulfill our oath? We fulfill our oath. So we get some nice benefits here. Might as well keep upgrading our buildings since we do have some gold. Really don't want to reduce holding taxes by that much. I mean, is this plague typhus, I assume, or what is it? Yeah, typhus. Camp fever. So they're like multiple apocalyptic typhus outbreaks. Indeed. Okay. It hasn't hit our capital, and hopefully this doesn't spread there. Continue fighting the Baltic Emperor Scourge Conqueror. I think that should give us living off the land. Won't help us in this particular war, really, but next time we raise our armies, have that massive supply bonus. Give us a big advantage. Okay. He is not a Scourge Conqueror, though he is an exalted warlord. I am surprised he still feels that he can attack me. Tutor, got a new one. Let's see if we can finish this war. Before going down to attack the Seljuks. Just have to see how quickly they get to Jerusalem. Guess he has the council position rights in his feudal contract. I'd like to change him to administrative, so he does no longer have those rights. Okay. Really need to get down to Jerusalem soon. Have an extra domain building. Hopefully this one will do it. If not this one, the next one. I do like how the AI at this level, does make some smart decisions in terms of waiting till I'm at war and then trying to take me on. I mean, that's a logical thing to do. I'm really not sure that we'll get down there in time. I think we will, but I'm not positive, frankly. We'll take the piety. Again, our capital is safe. Bring men from Verona. Improve our building that improves our military. I mean, this could be interesting because our armies are likely going to be starving, probably going to feel the need to attack immediately. So may not have the overwhelming advantage that I normally would. Indeed, if my armies are, oh crap, negative 73. Man, that is not good. Improved pillaging reduces your advantage. I don't want to do that. We'll just have improved defense. That is not good. They've got a ticking war score. We're going to have to land on top of them. Come on. What is this? Yeah, it is no secret. It is not going well. Man, that is frustrating. Guess what's going to happen to you, buddy? Okay, we're going to fix this terrible injustice, and then we're going to move on, which is to say we're going to call the episode. I do think I want to play at least one more episode. I've talked before about I will quit playing when I am indisputably the most powerful ruler in the world. It's sort of a sub-requirement of that, in my mind, is that other rulers are scared to attack me. What we've seen here is that the Seljuks are not scared to attack me yet. And so that makes me think that I am not yet powerful enough. Perhaps when I inflict some losses on them, they will reevaluate their beliefs in my power. So I think let's stop here just because, this is an awesome combat. Obviously, I think well above anything that would have happened in this age. Maybe the Mongol versus Arab armies, I don't remember. We have 82,000 versus over 90,000. I have a simply gigantic advantage. This could be a stack wipe. It's weird that it says your damage is increased by 0. Maybe because the advantage is so high, it's not calculating it properly. You can see that their armies just melt. That was stack wipe of over 90,000 men. So I would say it was certainly a Pyrrhic victory on their part in terms of briefly taking Jerusalem before I take it back. Do want a good caravan master. Let's look at our son, who we've been neglecting. And we have a lot of great traits we should be giving him. Guess I'm not going to have many children with our lesbian wife. Perhaps that's to be expected. It usually seems to me that fertility modifiers are, being lesbian or gay does not really affect how many children that the player has. It seems to have more of an effect on the AI. But at least here, we do seem to be having difficulty having children. So we just finished court officials, which gives +1 domain limit. Very important. So at the moment we're at our domain limit, but we shouldn't be because we should be holding Jerusalem. We will rectify that injustice very shortly here. I think I will go ahead and get standing armies next. Just a very substantial increase to our military power. There are arguments for getting standing armies even earlier, getting them before primogeniture or court officials. Would help if I went somewhere actually in the enemy's territory. Okay. Curious if Jerusalem did have a modifier to improve are there any regiment stationed there, because we built the martial estates there. We may have lost that, unfortunately. So we'll fix the control problem. Also get our wife assisting us instead of on patronage. Don't need that anymore. Okay, and so we have retaken Jerusalem here. Okay, I think I've already described what the plan is. We'll play at least one more episode. Maybe we'll fight the Mongols. Probably fight the Seljuks again. And this guy, if he's near death, if he dies, that ends our truce. And I can use a holy war CB against him. Perhaps grab Syria and Aleppo. Aleppo has a strong building here in the citadel. I often like holding it. Baghdad also is very strong. I like holding that building as well. Let's check before we end on whether we could get by the sword. We're still 3 years away, but we should try to keep that in mind for next episode. Here, again, the Mongols have a very large empire, but Genghis Khan is not a scourge conqueror. She's not going to be able to beat me. We just beat the Baltic Empire. Looks like they just had a new heir who is still a scourge conqueror. The Seljuks, you just saw how fights against them go. So, probably we are the most powerful. This guy down here, we could fight him. But again, probably we are the most powerful empire in the world now. And I think it's even close to being indisputable. But we'll play at least one more episode to show that. If that episode goes well, we'll conclude the series. If not, we'll keep going. Thanks very much for watching. I hope it's been entertaining. Please like, subscribe, comment. Comment about what you did like, don't like, suggestions, anything. I'm happy to hear it. Do my best to respond promptly. I hope you watch the rest of this series as well as my past series. Thanks very much, and goodbye.